China economy strong. Building strong economy for China, for China. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of China Economy Strong. As we document the continual rise and ascendancy of the most powerful economy on Earth, which, of course, is part of the most powerful country on Earth. We are talking, of course, of China, and I think we can all agree that China economy is strong. So China has come up with a new, more efficient way of using its people, executing dissidents, and if rumors are to believe, pretty much anybody who has a working organ that could be used by the leadership. Enlightened leadership need to rule China. China. Random people organs needed by Communist Party bosses. Bosses who make economy strong. Exactly. So, let's start this article. China's deadly fleet of mobile execution vans linked to organ harvesting. Well, yeah, I mean, look at this. This is hilarious. I mean, wonderful. It's like this, like, happy, cute-looking bus. Cute-looking bus deliver death with smiley face. For China, for China. Responding to criticisms, and I'll post a link to this, of course, to criticisms that China cruelly and arbitrarily executes a large number of its citizens each year. They are sacrificed to make economy strong. Officials are gradually moving towards what they see as a more discreet way of killing its prisoners, execution vans. Um, because the overhead for running an execution van is much less than running like a centralized execution place, and you got to save money by execution van, so GDP grows slightly faster. Faster GDP with execution van. Exactly. China has traditionally always taken a ruthless, unemotional view of crime and punishment. That's putting it lightly. Before injections and bullets, the most chilling sentence was death by Ling Chai. Death by 1,000 cuts, which was only abolished in 1905. The worst year in Chinese history. The condemned man was strapped to a table. Men, in what was known as slow slicing, his eyes were gouged out. The eyes were later used to feed the pigs, so that the pigs would go fat, and the pig meat would make China economy strong. This was designed to heighten the terror of not being able to see what part of his body would suffer next. Using a sharp knife, the executioner sliced at the condemned's body, chopping off the ears, fingers, nose, and toes before starting to cut off whole limbs. I don't know how they wouldn't bleed to death when you're doing that, but oh well. As opposed to the shootings that took place in public, inmates are now being executed in purpose-built vans in an almost clinical environment. China efficiency goes on to execution vans. Best execution vans in world because they are in China. This is probably the only clinically clean area in China if you look at the kind of products China produces. Prisoners are confined to a bed similar to an ambulance stretcher and put to death with lethal injections. The contents of the drug cocktails used for lethal injections are mixed in Beijing and delivered to local intermediate courts where the trials take place. They have trials. I'm shocked that they even have trials. Because China government so wise. They know who is guilty. Guilty. Yeah. So China developed its first fleet of mobile execution chambers slowly after cautiously experimenting with lethal injections for the first time in selected provinces beginning in 1997. Later, it was found that the toxic cocktail mix was actually just normal drinking water mixed with water from local lakes. It is now adopted on a larger scale in more localities. The exact number of vans being used is a state secret. What is known is that the Yunnan province alone has 18 mobile units in use. I think it is definitely progress for China. Oh my god. He literally said China economy is strong. I think it is. Okay, I gotta see this. I think it is progress for China. It did show consideration both for people sentenced to death and the rest of China. Exactly. Let's see here. Vice Chairman of the Criminal Affairs Committee of the All China Lawyers Association. Even the the Criminal Justice Committee sounds like China gotta be strong. All China Lawyers Association. There's less pain for the convicted. But human rights groups point out that evidence from the United States shows lethal injection to inflict pain. They also claim that China executes every year more criminals than the rest of the world combined. Well, China is the largest country on Earth, but whatever. The exact number again remains a highly confidential state secret. Amnesty International recorded there were at least 1,700 death sentences carried out in 2005, and given China's very low crime rate for a country as poor as it, that says something. But it says the real number could be as high as 8,000. I don't buy that for a second. I'm sure it's like in the tens of thousands. This is China. The move from firing squad to lethal injection demonstrates tremendous progress in China's criminal judgment proceedings. Yin Yang, director of Xinjiang Province's Supreme Court, told the media last month. First tried in 1997. Let's see here. The vans are now in vogue. The mobile death fleet is being touted by Chinese legal officials as the latest advance in China's judicial system as Beijing tries to revamp its international image. And nothing says international image like mobile execution vans. Nothing says that. The vans are now in vogue because they allow for death sentences to be carried out without the usual trip to the execution grounds, and they are cheaper. Mobile execute. I didn't even read this article fully. When I made the joke earlier that it made China economy strong since saved on like transportation costs, I didn't even know that. Each execution van is about 60K. Like you can't even get some cars for that much, and of course can be reused. Lethal injections require only 4 people to assist in the execution, whereas the practice of death by firing squads needs numerous guards at the execution site and along the road. This is just comedic gold. The vans prove that China has abandoned a long-standing practice of public executions. Okay. As the mobile execution vans began to roll silently... Oh, and what is the sound that is made when the injector goes into the arm? Yeah, that's the noise that's made. As mobile execution chambers begin to roll silently into more and more towns, fears arose among activists that the death penalty opponents that China was relying on lethal injection to harvest organs of executed prisoners in an effort to supply the country's growing market for organ transplants. Literally, this isn't even a joke. They're just executing random people to get organs to make China economy strong. China economy strong. China have largest trade in human organs. Organs for China. You give heart to China economy. Let's see here. These organs are dispatched in let's see here. Inside each death van, there is a dedicated team of doctors to harvest the organs of the deceased. The injections leave the body intact and in pristine condition for such lucrative work. After the victim is dead, the medical team remove the eyes, the kidney, the liver, the pancreas, and lungs. Little goes to waste, though the heart cannot be used, having been poisoned by the drugs. The organs are dispatched in ice boxes to hospitals in the sprawling cities of Beijing, a couple cities, and other specialist trades selling the harvested organs at clinics all over China. These organs are transplanted into the ailing bodies of the wealthy, and thousands more have come as organ tours from neighboring countries. So like this is another aspect of China's export-led export-driven economy is that you export the organs of arbitrarily executed members of China. Yeah, the Chinese people. Laws introduced 2006 make it an offense to remove organs of people against their will. Okay. But tellingly, the law does not cover prisoners. They betray China, and in death they make economy strong. Uh, Regulations issued in 1984, ironically enough, stipulate that the removal of organs from executed prisoners should be kept strictly secret, and attention must be paid to avoid having negative let's see here. Let's see. Organs can be extracted in a speedier and more efficient way using these vans than if prisoners are shot. We have gathered strong evidence suggesting that the involvement of the Chinese courts, police, hospitals, and the organ trade. The bodies are not allowed to be examined. Corpses are driven to a crematorium and burned before independent witnesses can view them. The use of mobile execution vans exacerbates the existing problems with prison-related issues in China. A police official who operates... Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. While other countries worry about the morality of the death penalty, China has no such qualms. It is not a question of whether they should execute offenders, but how to do it most effectively. So then we, of course, bring back to that this is another Shoah, and we have the gas chambers in the vans that they killed the Jews in. So yeah, so this is another step in the advancement of China economy and making China economy strong. My best guess is most of these organs go to the elite, to like members of the Communist Party and like China economists. Basically, anyone who's integral to making China economy strong, they will find somebody with a similar blood type, probably, and I'm getting too Chinese in my way of speaking, and they will make up some charge against them, then arrest them and kill them and harvest their organs to keep the leaders of the Communist Party and the other guys healthy. So I think what we can take away from this is that as with all these videos, the Chinese people are completely expendable towards the goal of making China economy strong. And this article literally repeatedly says China economy strong. So I will China economy strong. Mobile execution vans make efficient use of human resources to make economy strong. China economy strong.